Hey, everybody. We're live at Paste Studio on the road here in East Nashville at Instrumenthead Live. Live in this case with Rodney Crowell. Man, thanks for coming and doing this.
Hey, man.
Yeah, it's great to see you again.
Good to see you all masked up.
Yeah, yep, masked in these very, very strange times, trying to, I perhaps feel a little bit more normal by doing these things and enjoying music with each other. All the safety protocols are very much intact, and we're doing it safely, but this feels great, man. Thank you for doing it.
Yeah, you bet. My pleasure.
Yeah, so what's coming up first today?
I'm going to play, first, I'm going to play a song called East Houston Blues. And it's more or less autobiographical, but of course, I'm being from Texas, I made a lot of it up too. But it's based on where I, you know what they say, write about what you know. Well, I grew up hungry, I grew up hard, took the streets and alleys from my own backyard. I got a break-in enter on my list of crimes, been before the judge one too many times. East Houston Blues, scale of 1 to 10, it's about a 9.5, right where it's always been. It's in a drinking water and in the bar ditch mud. East Houston Blues gets in a poor boy's blood. I learned to drink and drive when I was 12 years old. My Uncle Fireball started rest his ragged soul. He ran a 54 Ford up and down the track, sipping early time straight from a paper bag. East Houston Blues, picture Dowling Street and Navigation Boulevard, where the crossroads meet. 3 sheets in the wind, brick shy of a load. East Houston Blues, down a nowhere road. $40 boots, big Bangora hat, stolen money from an inside job. Maybe think about that. I'm a third ward child, my mother's only son, which means exactly nothing without a loaded gun. I don't believe in love, this I'll guarantee. If there's a God above, He's got it in for me. East Houston Blues, what you want me to say? I need to find me a woman, keep the wolves at bay, keep my head on straight, I maybe toe the line. East Houston Blues ain't no friend of mine. So you understand that of which I speak. I'm a worried man on a losing streak.
Man, this sounds great. This is a total pleasure. Thanks for doing this with us today.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was finding out more about your relationship with Guy Clark as it relates to your songwriting and the craft of writing songs. And I read that you, when you really started studying it, that you just started reading voraciously, just so that you had like always new material to bring to the table. Can you talk for any songwriters out there about specific books that were helpful to you, or even not specific, maybe just
I did start
the type of thing?
Yeah, I grew up in East Houston, not academic at all, and I might have read a young reader's football stories in junior high, and maybe a biography of Ulysses S. Grant somewhere along the way. But it wasn't until I got in Nashville and started hanging around with professional songwriters, particularly Guy Clark, Townes Van Zandt some, Mickey Newberry, and some of those guys, you know, they were 10 years older than me, 9, 10 years older than me, and I realized, man, I got to load up, and I started reading. One of the things that really had a profound influence on me, on my songwriting, was the I Ching, old ancient Chinese wisdom, you know, hexagrams, and you know, you use Chinese coins and toss them, and it's a bit mystical, but the language inside the book is just, it's haiku, beautiful language, very elevated and pristine language, and you know, I became a real student of language, and even more so as time has gone on, right up to this day. You know, it's like I have a natural gift for melody, and that comes to me rather quickly. Usually, I work the hardest on lyric. You know, really revising, and I wrote a memoir about 10 years ago, and that was a process, you know, 100 revisions, you know. So to write really strong language, you got to be willing to revise and revise and revise. Truman Capote says great books aren't written, they're rewritten. And I kind of feel that way about songs in a lot of ways.
Nice. Well, thank you for sharing your knowledge with us and your music with us today. We appreciate it very much. And there's a lot more music coming up. What are you going to do second today?
I'm going to play the song called Reckless. And in a dream, I'm lying in bed next to my gorgeous wife, who is, as you know, who I'm true to as the day is long, and I would bet money she is to me. But I was having a dream, man, where I was all up in a threesome with some strange women, and I woke up from it, and I was like, oh man, I was embarrassed, you know. I'm thinking, wow, I'm lying here beside her, and I'm having this dream. What does that say, you know? What would Carl Jung say about that? So I got up and I wrote this song. I said, well, I just got to write this because it's going to be the most useful thing to do with this dream. Last night I lay dreaming. I was drinking in a hotel bar. 2 women came up and kissed me. Now you were watching from a distant star. I know it doesn't make much sense. What can I tell you? Judging by the evidence, I'm feeling reckless. I don't know why I would go there, or to make a fuss over what. I've got a woman like you, and what do? Pretend I might be something I'm not. I know you know it's not your fault. It's just something inside me. Would that I were worth my salt. I'm feeling reckless. You give me more than I deserve. You could say I've got some nerve. So slay me with your tender mercy. Comfort me with words of steel. You can catch me in a lie when I cast her overnight, but she'll never know the way I feel. I know you're smarter than me. Pray tell me something I don't know. There's so much more that I could be, but I'm feeling reckless.
Man, so what are you doing in life to stay like grounded, healthy in the creative mind frame, and able to still write songs? I mean, now that the world is a lot different than it was a year ago, and a lot of recreational opportunities are just not there any longer. What are you doing to stay healthy right now?
Oh, to stay healthy, I get a lot of exercise. I live in an area with some pretty challenging hills, with hiking trails, and I'll and an Apple Watch to tell me how many steps I get. So I'll get in, nearly a 5-mile hike every day in the woods, and I have a swimming pool, so I swim a lot of laps. When the weather gets colder, sometimes I turn the heat on and continue swimming. I have a studio, and I'm up in the morning and working. I'm working on, I'm writing prose, I'm writing songs. I've finished an album during COVID. I started it before COVID, and I finished it, by sharing files with musicians, but 2/3 of it we pretty much had finished or ready to mix before COVID slowed us down. But the COVID was a blessing for me in that way, and all the pain and sorrow and loss of life notwithstanding, COVID's been good for me. It's the first time I've been home this long in the last 45 years, and it's been really productive for me spiritually, creatively, working on some projects, writing new songs, hanging out with my wife, and have a new granddaughter and a young grandson that I get to spend a lot of time with. So it's all good, and I'm okay, in quarantine. It suits me. I'm an extrovert, but I'm also an introvert. I go both ways, like your shirt. I'm AC/DC, man.
Nice. Well, I mean, I'm glad that, as awful as it is, that you're able to find those silver linings and appreciate it and spend time with family and continue to share this music with the world too, man. I really enjoy what's happening here today, and there's more coming up. Yeah,
it's been good for me, and but I say that knowing that it hasn't been good for a lot of people, and I feel them. This song, I had an album. It was a hit, back in the late 80s and, back in the days of mullet haircuts and what have you. And I was over in the bookcase and the library and pulled out the record. I hadn't seen it in a while, and I looked, and there's a picture of me on the cover with silver toe-tip boots and a wife-beater T-shirt with a string tie on and a jacket and a hairdo and walking down a dirt road. And I said, oh my God, what fool dresses like that to walk down a dirt road? It was one of those, like, who was I then? So I held it up, to my wife across the room there. She was cooking dinner, and I said, hey, poser? And she said, yeah, sorry, babe. Yeah. So that made me mad, so I stomped off back into my studio and wrote this song about me. I used to pull my britches on with just one thing in mind: make the girls believe that I'm the last one of my kind. Silver toe tips on my boots and a mullet head of hair, designed to walk into the room and make somebody stare. But I don't care anymore if I don't stand out in a crowd. I was better off before. I try to make my mother proud. I came to town a dreaming I could make my mark in spades. 40-odd years later, all my best cards have been played. Well, it's a hard knock situation when the accolades bestowed on your every last creation cries out middle of the road. But I don't care anymore about the fortune or the fame. I was better off before. I tried to make myself a name. All that money that I blew through like some bootblack off the farm could not have vanished quicker if I'd have shot it in my arm. Some sewing says, don't you know, the image is the sky. Well, the next thing I remember, I'm unlearning how to fly, and I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. All those party dolls and favors that I savored from day one add up to next to nothing after all is said and done. A real friend tried to tell me, man, with all respect for you, the time to put away these things is long since overdue. If indeed I do get lonesome in my mansion on a hill, there's this neighbor's wife I covet for her beauty and her skill. The way she puts herself together, sleek and vagabond couture, makes each mailbox conversation one more heartache to endure. But I don't care anymore who does what and why. I don't care anymore. When I was just another guy, I've been lied on, spied on, cried on, tried on, taken for a ride, you bet. Fracked, cracked, smacked, jacked, what you see is what you get. I've been spit at, quit at, hit at, shit at, shouldn't hurt a bit at what I'm trying to get at. Fooled me once, shame on me. Fooled me twice and put the blame on. I don't care anymore. No, I don't care anymore.
So we've this environment that we're in here with all these images. You've got Bootsy Collins behind you and Mickey Hart behind you, Molly Tuttle. So it's an easy environment to chat about music. We're surrounded by the good vibe. You are amplifying that good vibe in a huge way. Can you talk, the record that you finished in quarantine, can you talk a little bit about the artists? I know you said there were a lot of collaborators that you were sending files around to. Can you talk about who you collaborated with, or is that...
more so with musicians, you know, session musicians around town. My previous record called Texas, I collaborated with a lot of people, from Billy Gibbons to Ringo Starr to Lyle Lovett and Steve Earle and a lot of people. This new record is called Triage, and it is really, the collaboration is me and local musicians, or, you know, Nashville musicians who I've worked with all of them on and off for years and years and years again. Some very talented musicians, most of who have their own recording equipment at home now, you know, their own studios where, you know, you get a track going in my home studio and a buddy of mine, you know, a drummer I've worked with a lot, lives up on the hill from me, and I just email it up to him, and he puts a drum part on, and we get it back. And it's not my favorite way, but one good thing about it, I was going to say earlier, the process of working that way slows you down a little bit, to where you get a little time to really consider what you're doing. And in my case, for the new album Triage that's coming up, COVID slowed me down enough that I realized a couple of songs, the recordings of a couple of songs just weren't up to snuff. And I elbowed them out, wrote a new song that surpassed everything, and recorded another song and put them on. And Bob's Your Uncle, a better album. And I think if it hadn't been COVID time, I would have finished it up and wrapped it up, and that would have been it. And then later on, I might listen to the record or hear it and say, I wish I'd have bumped those two off, you know? So in this case, it worked out good.
Yeah, it is nice to have that little bit of extra time to evaluate things. I mean, I know I've got more time on my hands than I have at any point in my adult life right now. So yeah, it's nice to be able to make good use of it the way that you did.
Yeah.
What do you feel like doing? Do you feel like playing more? Do you feel like playing more?
Well, I guess, you know, music is the the language of love. I'll get one more out of here. This is a song. My father-in-law, or he and my mother-in-law live in Dallas, outside of Dallas, Texas, and I'd go visit them. Photograph sitting on one of the little bookshelves there of my father-in-law at about age 21 or so, and he's got a Gene Vincent spit curl right beautifully placed on his forehead, and he's got a pack of Lucky Strikes rolled up in his T-shirt sleeve, and he's sitting behind the wheel of a 56 Fury, Plymouth Fury, cherry hot rod at that particular time. And I always thought, man, this is a song. I got to make a song out of this photograph. But I didn't know how to do it until one day I was back in the den, and there was a drawing that my wife did of her mother with a beehive. Big one, you know, an early 60s spray net beehive. And I said, it has to be a love story. So once I realized that, I knew I could write this song about my mother-in-law and father-in-law, you know, and fantasize about what went on in the back seat of that 56 Fury. Spit curled down his forehead, talking about how, yes, it's understood. It's not just some lame six-bank grease stain sitting here underneath the hood. Tamping down a camel on a zipper with a grin, maybe wider than a country mile. Of course, a can of cool hand taking it to school, man, and burning up the road in style. 56 Fury, high performance, built for speed. 56 Fury, long about every last thing you need. So 56 Fury. Hair stacked up and twisted like some beehive made in France. 7 double shots of spray net, down for nothing, left a chance. Yes, here's what's real, cried sweet Lucille. Ain't no other boy I know who can even down or hold a candle to that loving hot rod Romeo. 56 Fury, high performance, built for fun. 56 Fury,
top scoop so sleek and sexy, make a grown man moan. Jet white streak of lightning, destination lost, it's gone. Back off V8 Ford, back off Chevrolet. Your Pontiac and Cadillac ain't even fit for hauling hay. It's 56 Fury, bound for glory, seconds flat. 56 Fury. Somebody tell me, baby, what was that? That was a 56 Fury. Finest car on the road. You bet.
Man, it's been a total pleasure. We always appreciate your time. It's always great to see you.
Thank you, Brad. It's good fun. Thanks for getting me out of the house.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you've had the time to stay in the house and work and be productive and stay healthy. And hopefully everybody sort of remembers those lessons that we've been forced to learn in the last 8 months, that it's good to have that time to reflect.
I'm going to put it on right here, brother, now that we're finishing up. Say goodbye to the good folks out there.
All right, Rodney, thanks so much, man. We'll look forward to next time.
Okay.